The night settled over the city like a heavy blanket. Cold wind whispered through empty streets, and the hum of traffic in the distance was barely a comfort. In the corner of a deserted playground, on an old rusted swing, a small girl curled into herself. Her name was Lena. She was only 10, but the lines of hardship had already begun to form on her face. She wasn't playing. She hadn't played in a long time. This swing wasn't a toy, it was her bed. Her safe place. Each night, she came here, wrapped in a thin coat that was 2 sizes too small, trying to stay warm. Her arms held tightly to an old photograph, her mother holding Lena and her baby brother, smiling in better times. She didn't beg. She didn't ask for help. She just existed, hoping no one would notice her. Because if they did, they might take her away. Away from her brother. Away from the hospital. In the cafe across the street, warm and golden and full of laughter, Mr. Grayson sat alone. A millionaire, powerful and respected, yet emotionally cold. He sipped his coffee, staring out the window. He saw her. Again. He had noticed her before, but always looked away. Just another homeless child, he had told himself. Not my problem. But tonight, something about her stillness, her loneliness, made him pause. For the first time, he wondered, why is she really out there? The next night, Grayson sat at the same cafe, his coffee untouched. The frost on the windows blurred the view, but he could still make her out. Lena. She was there again. The same swing. The same position. Only tonight, the temperature had dropped even more. Her breath came out in white puffs. Her hands trembled. A voice inside him, one he hadn't heard in years, whispered, "Do something." He grabbed a spare blanket from the backseat of his car and crossed the street, his expensive leather shoes crunching on the frozen pavement. As he stepped into the park, Lena bolted upright, startled like a deer caught in headlights. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently, holding the blanket out like an offering. "You shouldn't be sleeping here." Lena eyed him with suspicion, but her body betrayed her, she was freezing. After a long pause, she took the blanket silently and wrapped herself tightly. Grayson sat down on the nearby bench, watching her from a distance. "Where are your parents?" She looked away. "Mom died last year. Cancer. Dad left before that." He was quiet. "And the shelter?" he asked. "They'll separate me from my brother. He's in the hospital downtown. If they find out I'm alone, they'll put me in foster care, and I won't see him again." Her voice didn't tremble, but his heart did. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. She's not just homeless. She's choosing this, for love. Grayson sat alone in his penthouse that night, the city lights stretching endlessly before him, but all he could see was Lena's face. A child, surviving in the cold, just to stay near her brother. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't work. Something inside him was shifting, breaking, maybe. The next morning, he waited near the playground. When Lena appeared with sleepy eyes and tousled hair, he didn't speak, he simply followed at a distance. She boarded a bus and got off near the city hospital. From across the street, he watched her press her face against a third-floor window and wave with a bright smile. A small boy waved back from inside, tubes running from his arms, but his smile matched hers. That moment shattered something in Grayson's soul. He walked into the hospital. Quietly, without fanfare, he asked about the boy. The staff was hesitant at first, but after some calls, he made a decision. That same day, arrangements were made. That evening, Lena returned to the hospital window, but her brother was gone. She panicked. She ran inside, tears streaming down her face, only to find him in a private room with toys, warm food, and a soft bed. A kind nurse told her, someone covered all his bills. "You both will be safe now." She turned around, and there stood Mr. Grayson. She didn't say a word. She just stared. He cried. No child should have to carry the weight of sacrifice like that. Grayson wasn't known for emotions. He was known for power, strategy, steel. But that day, standing in a quiet hospital hallway, he wept like a broken man rediscovering what it meant to feel. Lena walked toward him slowly. "Why did you help?" she asked, clutching a small toy her brother had just received. He knelt beside her. "Because you reminded me of someone. My little sister. She died when I was a kid. I was too late to save her." Lena looked into his eyes, not with fear or gratitude, but understanding. She had grown up too fast. Like him, they were from different worlds, but they shared something invisible. A scar. I'm tired of being alone, she whispered. He nodded. So am I. From that day, Grayson changed. Not just with money, but with presence. He began visiting Lena and her brother daily. He read to them, brought them meals, smiled more than he had in years. He didn't just save them. They saved him, too. He reconnected with humanity, with kindness. He wasn't cold anymore. He was healing. And all it took was one child brave enough to sleep in a swing, for love. Months later, the playground looked different. The swings were new. The slide no longer rusted. And painted across the entrance in warm colors were the words, Lena's Garden, a place to dream. Children played freely. Parents smiled. And under a shady tree, Lena and her brother laughed together, dressed in new clothes, bellies full. Mr. Grayson sat nearby on a bench, reading a book. Not about business or finance, but stories. Fairy tales. Lena ran to him, holding 2 ice creams. One for you. He chuckled, wiping a tear. Thank you. He had adopted them both. Quietly. No media, no interviews. Just a man doing what was right. Because sometimes, the richest people are the ones who learn how to give. And sometimes, the smallest acts of love, sleeping in a park, holding on to hope, believing in family, can melt even the coldest heart. In a world often too busy to notice the hurting, one child's courage reminded us what truly matters. Not wealth, not power, but love, connection, humanity. And now, every night, when the city falls asleep, Lena no longer curls up on a swing. She sleeps in a warm bed, in a real home, loved, safe, and finally, free to dream.